And
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
yeah.
It has to adjust the levels, doesn't he?
Probably not. I don't know. As we were discussing earlier, we have yet to get to the point where I have done this before.
Fair.
Like putting in the keeping up with damage and putting up
Okay, you guys are good.
everything. Okay, excellent.
Cool, awesome. But it's straightforward, whatever straightforward means.
Yeah. Like, okay, so now that we're all set up, like I've done this part before.
Okay. Did you hear that Australia got wave 4 on Thursday?
Yes, I did, which was rather surprising. Was it surprising for you guys?
Yes, it was. So put it that way. After FFG said, "Are we going to delay?" We said, "Okay," and then all the shop owner says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "Okay." And so I picked up my stuff yesterday, and this morning the shops got an email from the distributors that saying there was a miscommunication that shouldn't have been released before the 11th of July.
Okay.
So I have a big bag of chips sitting there without the points, and they're getting pulled off the shelf now.
Yeah, contraband copies.
I mean, I could put them on eBay and sell them for 200% retail to the world, right?
Yeah. It's like these are tremendously lovely paperweights that you can't actually do anything with because you don't have points. No, but that's hilarious. Yeah, I was curious about why they were going up in shops, but it makes sense being a distributor mix up.
True. As you said, we can't do anything with them. They look lovely though, especially the hyena bomber. Oh my god! Oh my, it looks so good. And the N1 is chrome on the bottom as well.
Oh, so it really looks good.
Yeah, they look fantastic.
Okay, I was worried
really
about
good.
I was worried about the chrome on the N1 because it could very easily just look cheap and bad.
But no, they did a good job. So you got to give them that.
Good. I'm very much looking forward to it. I actually bought into Republic this past week. I'd been holding out, and I held out as long as I could, and then I just had to get me some.
I mean, I can't blame you. The Jedi's, they are super fun to fly.
Yeah. I put I think it was Annie and Ahsoka and 2 Torrents on the table this week, and it felt so good.
It is, and they're strong. So
yeah.
And what I like about them is basically, I went to our last hyperspace trial with the ARCs, and we only had R2 and 7B. So I don't have any upgrades basically on the ships, and it's just about flying. There's no triggers, there's no wombo combos. It's really nice.
Yeah. But it's the having an entire class of ship that can double reposition and still have mods is pretty amazing.
Yes, and not being stressed.
Yeah.
And Anakin Skywalker is so good. I truly, at the beginning, everybody was saying, "Oh, Anakin Skywalker needs a bit." I completely disagree, because if he just 5Ks behind you, sheds his stress, take a lock on you, and then lights you up.
Right. All right, I'm gonna dip into the other channel to see when we're gonna start. I'll be right back. All right, so stream is live.
Hey.
Hello and welcome. I am Joel Killingsworth of the Birmingham Barons X-Wing podcast. Joining me today is Marcus Thielsch of the Imperial Propaganda Radio podcast.
Hello, everybody.
And we are bringing for your viewing pleasure today the match between Andrew Knuckles and Ahkter Khan in our ongoing series of Barons versus Imperial Propaganda. If you'll recall, last time that we did this, it was a game between Marcus and myself, and Marcus valiantly destroyed me utterly. And so Andrew is out there. Hopefully, he's going to be reclaiming my honor. So let's take a look at the lists that we've got here. Marcus, do you want to talk about Ahkter's list?
Oh, yeah. Ahkter is flying Lando, Wedge, and Jake. Lando has trick shot, Leia and Nam, and Wedge crack shot, protons, foils, and Jake has outmaneuver and predator. And actually, Ahkter was or is haunting us with a variation of this list locally. He was flying Lando and only Wedge before, a little bit decked out, more decked out. So I guess he's just trying to have Lando use his range 3 coordinates to give Wedge double-worded shots, and Jake is just there to hand out focus tokens to everybody.
That seems very efficient. Yeah, the extra actions off of both Lando and Jake could prove to be a big deal, especially since Wedge is rocking proton torpedoes.
That is correct. And, and one dice less, and then with the possibility to crack you, they could hurt.
Absolutely. But he's not alone in carrying proton torpedoes. Andrew has proton torpedoes on both of his ships. He's running double Sith infiltrators with Count Dooku with hate proton torpedoes, the Dark One probe droids for advanced target lock acquisition, a shield upgrade, and the Scimitar title for cloaking and jamming. And then Darth Maul with hate proton torpedoes, Chancellor Palpatine, and he's on board to be able to reactively stress anyone that shoots at Maul. General Grievous for a little bit of extra survivability, proton bombs, and a shield upgrade. So he's obviously the typical approach with double Sith Infiltrator is to throw the probe droids out the turn before combat so that they get into range and you can go ahead and get the locks that you want and then just light something up with fully modded proton torpedoes, possibly 2 turns in a row.
And those droids, they are really fun.
Mm-hmm.
You put them on the table, they're really fun to move around, and they can be a big headache just because you just get the target lock, and then, okay, if they die afterwards, they did their job.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you can launch 2 of them during the game and they don't take up your action economy to launch. So at any point, Dooku could just plop out another one, and then it can run around and try to get in jamming range if Dooku is not currently engaged. Because the Dark One probe droids they extend the range. You can measure from them both for acquiring a lock and for the jam action.
So,
all right, it looks like we are about ready to start. Let me hop over into the other chat and make sure that they're ready to hit the start button.
It's going to be interesting what Andrew's and Ahkter's strategy is, because Andrew with the 2 Sith infiltrators, he wants to joust, so he can delete the ship right from the start. Let's see how Ahkter is going to approach this, because he doesn't want to lose Wedge or Jake in the opening engagement.
That would be something to avoid for sure. Time has begun, so now we get to see how they approach. One thing to note is Count Dooku is cloaked from the beginning of the match, which is allowed by the Scimitar title. So while it's most likely that he's going to remain cloaked during the approach, because recloaking does incur stress, it is a red action, but he does have the ability to change his approach vector if in a last-ditch effort to get the perfect engagement with that decloak.
And the good thing is Doku also can just approach cloaked, and because he's an initiative 3, he probably gonna get shot before he shoots, and just gets rid of the decloaking token and shoots, which is also very nice.
Yes, because so that puts him up to rolling at least 3 dice. Well, at least 2 if Wedge is shooting at him, and that many dice with essentially infinite force with hate is very difficult to push damage through.
Oh yeah. So it looks like Andrew decided not to go straight ahead. He's probably maybe trying to drag Ahkter through the rocks and then come from above, because the infiltrators don't really care about the cloud, and they can just easily 5k behind the rocks. Who cares? But we shall see.
Yeah. So this is an interesting approach for Andrew, because if you bring both of the infiltrators up to about the middle of the board at the top there, and then turn them both down, then you have enough room, basically assuming that that top cloud isn't there, you have enough room to come down through either between either set of rocks, basically.
Count Dooku is trying to drop a bomb.
So it looks like they've reached the end phase, and he's putting out the first set of probe droids.
Of course. So what's he doing?
So if Andrew isn't careful here, Jake may get to pot shot at the probe droids and kill them before Andrew's ready to use them.
That's true. But I think they have 3 green dice, the droids, anyway. So
yeah, they have 3 green dice, but you only have to score 1 hit to destroy them.
True.
So what? I guess what is Ahkter's perfect first engagement look like going into this matchup? Do you think?
I think that he wants to have a double modded shot from Wedge, fed by Lando and Jake, in one of the infiltrators. It doesn't matter which, and not getting shot at. I mean, that's what you always try, but I think that's what would be perfect. And I think Ahkter wouldn't care that if he shoots small, that Palpatine gives him a stress, because he can then pop Leia and 4K free talent anyway if he has to. But we have to wait and see. I know from playing against Ahkter on the table that he's cagey with Wedge, which is actually the right way of playing him. And maybe he can use Lando as a meat shield, but however, if Lando gets 2 fully modified proton torps into him, he's not going to be happy either.
No, because that second one is almost certainly going to be putting a crit into his hull. And that, after the first round of combat, doesn't feel good.
That is true.
If Lando goes down, and say it would probably take till the 3rd turn of combat to kill Lando at that, because Ahkter would be able to perhaps block Darth Maul or bump into Count Dooku, something to mitigate taking both shots again in the 2nd turn. But then both infiltrators can just do the 5k behind him and continue firing with all of their force. So you probably lose Lando on the 3rd turn if Lando takes both of those torpedoes on the 1st turn.
That's true.
So then you're left with three shots out of Lando, plus a torp and 2 shots out of Wedge, plus whatever Jake can put in. Could probably kill Darth Maul in return. So that may actually be a trade worth making.
Yeah, that's true. That is correct, because Maul can really be a pain in the backside once he starts hitting you, and then he can just two sloop and hit you again, and he doesn't really care about actions anyway. So
looks like the probe droid is wary of Jake and is moving into the cover of the clouds.
which is not a bad thing. I'm also curious what Ahkter is going to do, because Jake is very good at feeding focus tokens to people to break off his formation. I mean, to flank from two sides and keep Wedge close to Lando, or it's going to be interesting to see.
Oh, that's very interesting. The two sloop into the corner, I did not see coming. This is actually a move that Andrew used to make a lot when he was playing Dengar Asajj, which he's commented to me that this list feels a lot like Dengar Asajj, and where he would take the jump master and kind of run it into the corner and then sloop into the corner, just as he's done here, in order to kind of reset the joust.
Yeah, it's when he went to the left, I thought, he could slope into the corner. It's exactly what he did, and now I understand why he did it. It's actually, I think that's a move which I have to keep in mind.
Yeah,
it's very
because
good.
now he has even more options. He can move Dooku straight down outside of all the rocks, with Maul going in between, just going around that first rock. Or he can move Maul further along the top of the board and bring Dooku behind him. So he still has multiple vectors. He's not really committed to any one approach yet.
Funny that you mentioned that Andrew always flew Asajj
and Dengar, yeah.
Yes, because Ahkter also likes flying those double infiltrators at the moment, and he used to fly and murder people with Bossk Asajj. Ahkter is very good. We always called him the biggest scum player in Australia, and we didn't talk about we didn't talk about defection, to be honest. So and he was murdering people with those two big base ships, and this is exactly where he feels at home. So he was saying before the game actually that he was nearly playing double CV infiltrators as well. There would have been an interesting game.
He was actually very upset that Andrew had chosen this list and he had not at the last moment. And he was just lamenting over and over again, so many torpedoes, so many torpedoes.
Yep.
So we'll see if he has a game plan to take care of that. So we've got Wedge committing to following Jake around the outside of the clouds, with Lando meandering up the side of the board. Neither player really committing to an actual attack vector yet, because Jake can still hard one left and completely reset his position.
And Lando could K or sloop and go back as well. So I think they both know that they don't want to and wait for the right moment to jump in.
Looks like we have a boost out of Wedge. And back to dials. Oh, nope. Looks like he's trying to plop out the second probe droid. Now, this is interesting, because if he sticks it off the board, I think he loses
Can't do it. No, he can't do it. It's like a bomb, I think. I think it's like a bomb. But I'm not 100% sure, but...
Well, it's all under the device heading, so it should act the same for deployment. All right, and looks like we're going to be seeing. So he's still trying to deploy that second probe droid. So it's interesting that he didn't hold that in reserve. So we're going to be. That's not a resource that Ahkter has to worry about anymore when he's considering his maneuvers. So he's going to always know where both of these guys are.
It is true. It's true.
Heading back to dials. So the first thing that's going to happen this turn is going to be the probe droid movement, and I think we may see. We're probably going to see a 2-bank on that more advanced probe droid to fit it right between the rock and the cloud, just to give as much coverage as possible. And then it'll also get obstruction from the most likely approaches from Jake and Wedge. But I'm curious what he's going to do with that back one, whether it's just going to kind of move up to where the current one is, or if he's going to try to take it out into the open space in order to get some more coverage.
I mean, splitting them up would be nice. Like you said, the more advanced 1 and 2 bank to the right, so it sticks nicely in between. Then the other one, maybe just the 2 forward.
Mm.
So we have both on the board, and you can target lock as he wants, and then reacts accordingly.
The risk that he runs with having both of them out and him having not committed to an attack vector yet is that Ahkter will get free shots on the probe droids and just remove them before the engagement actually happens. So he's going to have to be careful.
That is true.
To keep them out of incidental shots as much as possible.
Every time I play with them against Tom, he gets angry at them and I hate them, and I have to go. Ahkter still thinking what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do so it's very open, right? He could go with Jake and Wedge to the left and to the right. He could turn with Lando, or he can even sloop with Lando. So if he sloops
I
with
think
Lando,
slooping here with Lando is dangerous because Maul might nick a range 3 shot, and Lando ends up if you don't Leia, because you could Leia here, and then you could do the sloop with Lando, and then you'd be set up to boost away, and that as long as let's see, but Lando has to move before Maul does. So that's still pretty risky because you don't know how hard Maul's going to bite this turn. Well,
and I think it's too early to take those risks.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening.
It looks like all dials are down. Here we go with the 2-bank. Yeah, unfortunately, with the irregular shape on the probe droids, it takes an extra amount of time to manipulate the templates on Vassal to move them correctly.
I mean, I think Moore knows about this and is sure working on it right now as we speak. Oh, it's going the other way.
Okay, yeah. So he is worried about taking too many incidental shots, I think. Which should inform, I think, what maneuvers he chose. I think he chose to not. They're not concerned with the angle of the the probe droid. It can just go where it wants.
Which is fine. So Count Dooku saying hello to the Rock.
Mm-hmm. So he's probably either going to barrel roll here, or we'll see a decloak next turn.
Yep.
And the barrel roll on these guys is red, but it is quite a big deal for a large base to have access to a repositional action.
Oh yes, very much so. He doesn't care about red tokens.
Mm.
His attack, he just gets rid of them.
Yeah.
If he wants to. He's barrel rolling now, which makes sense.
And barrel rolling toward Maul makes more sense than away, because if Jake and Wedge went around the outside, then they could potentially pin Dooku before Maul could get back into the fight.
So, and Ahkter just decided to go the right way. Have a sneaky shot, but
Lando coming in fast.
I guess he's trying to clinch one of them either in the corner or between the rock and the clouds, and this is still open for Ahkter what he's going to do in the next turn.
Mm-hmm. The question here is that range 3?
I think Jake is in range of the probe droid. Jake is going to be in trouble the next round.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't finished moving yet, but I think both Andrew and Ahkter constructed an engagement very nicely. They are not shooting at each other now, but in the next round, decisions have to be made. And it's going to be very important. So I really like that approach from both of us. Both of them. Dooku hanging in the back, always can go free forward and do something. Maul can react depending on where Jake is going to go now. So
yeah, Maul's in a really good position to be able to close off this kind of central open area where Jake's headed into. But his ability to react to Lando's current position is limited by that large rock, unless he picks a barrel roll here. Looks like he grabbed a lock on Jake. So it looks like we could see a 1 bank with Maul and a 3 straight with Dooku to just hammer in that open area where Jake is pointed.
and Jake can get one-shotted with a torpedo. I mean, the odds are low, but
yeah, so it should be fairly easy for Jake to actually zoom up there and potentially get a block on Maul.
it is true as well.
Let's see, he doesn't have the 3 bank blue, unfortunately. If he did a Maul may actually just have space to do a 1 straight, and if he does that, I don't think Jake gets to block him, and Jake would just die for trying at that point.
And I think let's just assume Maul is doing a 1 forward, and even if Jake is zooming up a 5 straight, which brings him to the rock, Maul is still going to light him up, even if through the rock. So,
but
interesting.
I think this lock is just kind of a lock of opportunity. I think what Andrew really wants to take off the board first round is Wedge.
Sure.
And that is absolutely the piece that Ahkter does not want shot at on the first turn.
That's right. That is right.
But with this positioning of that probe on the cloud there's not really anything that Ahkter can do to keep Andrew from taking locks on Wedge. If that's what Andrew decides to do.
It's going to be very interesting next turn.
Yeah, because Dooku is going to have to make all of his targeting decisions blindly because he's moving first. So we're probably going to see a move by the cloud probe into the open area in order to make sure that it has range on everything. And then Dooku's going to do his fastest blue, which I think is a 3 straight. And then he's going to lock something. And the something that he locks is going to dictate Andrew's strategy for the rest of the turn.
So I think Lando is going to do a free bank because he has trick shot on him and give himself 2 actions then. So he might want to lock focus Maul. If he thinks that Maul goes 1 forward or maybe 1 bank down, he might have a trick shot on Maul. This is definitely the important turn now, and again they set this up nicely, I think.
Yeah, the Lando coming in with the sweeping outside trajectory is very good. That's a excellent setup because Darth Maul might get a torpedo into him, but he's probably not going to have to face torpedoes from both ships, and so he can afford to be aggressive. So I think the real gamble this turn is can Andrew set up a double torp shot into either Jake or Wedge, and will Ahkter let him have it? So it's that shell game of which one are you going to pick, and which one do I think you're going to pick, and which one am I going to leave in your arcs?
But I don't think that Ahkter actually. I want to say Ahkter doesn't care about Jake because he's a great enabler of the list. So it's going to be hard if he really loses one of the ships. I mean, if he loses Wedge, that's going to be bad. But I think it's also the same bad if he loses Jake.
So looking at Dooku a little closer, I actually think that Andrew has to decloak forward with him.
Oh yeah,
because he's not going because Ahkter's not going to shoot at Dooku. He's not going to do him the courtesy of letting him decloak mid round. So so he's going to end up doing a 1 forward decloak and then probably a 1 straight at that point to stay behind the cloud and get his action. Which would be a net, it'd be like performing a 4 straight, which it looks like that would still fit behind the cloud.
that should be fine.
But he's for sure going to have range on all of the aggressive approaches that Jake and Wedge could take.
Looks like Ahkter made his decision.
Yep. The die has been cast. Now time to roll the dice. Just waiting for that 2 template to pop out. There we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's see if he attempts to try to line it up. Oh, there we go. This is the extra effort.
It's a game of millimeters, right?
Yeah. Yep, so here's the decloak. 1 straight. And then
Forward.
Dooku's maneuver. One straight again. All right.
One forward. Yeah,
That
was
gets rid of
better.
the stress. And so now the lock, and he should have range. There we go.
Oh,
So he's
there you go.
coming in for wedge. That probably means Maul does a one bank toward the cloud and reacquires a lock on wedge.
Looks like Ahkter doesn't care about Jake, as he just moved him in the middle of the field.
Yeah, maybe he sees a way to try to get that block. Yeah, there we go.
Ah, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, nice.
Oh yeah.
Nicely
So
done.
I'm not sure there's anything that Maul can do that doesn't get blocked up on that. Here comes Lando with his arc's a little lower than he might want if Maul does get blocked up on Jake. He might have it. Looks like maybe he's considering the rotate as well, since he's taking a minute for his action decision.
That's true. And he can't coordinate Jake and not Wedge.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going. I don't know if I would be Ahkter, I think I would just lock Maul and take a focus, and because I'm nicely parked behind the rock, Maul might want to go one bank to the right and then just have a trick shot onto Maul with a focus target lock.
Yeah, but he went for the boost.
Oh, he went for the boost.
Making sure that he has arc. So this is going
Here's the block.
Yep, there's the block. And he's sacrificed the trick shot, but he still does have range 1. And Maul does not get to fire his torpedoes. However, Maul is going to happily give Lando a second stress.
That is correct. That is very true.
So if Lando had not boosted, then he would just end up with 1 stress this turn, and he was going to do a blue next turn anyway. So that decision is going to have consequences for sure. All right. Let's see what Wedge decided to do. Probably do you think maybe a bank in, since he was kind of banking on the fact that he would block Maul there? But he also left his Alpha Strike without any sort of action support. So if he does come in and take the lock, that's going to be the only thing that he gets to do. It's only going to be a half modded torp.
Might be considering. Oh no.
Okay.
He doesn't want any business there.
Yeah.
Andrew has a decision to make now, depending on which Wedge does. If he has range, does he really want to shoot a torp through the cloud into Wedge? After Wedge does his action.
See, do they have? Yeah, Wedge's S-foils are closed, so boost is available to him.
That was what Ahkter was implementing about before he moved Wedge. Should he open or close them?
Ah. If he does take the boost straight, I think he gets out of range of Dooku, but if he takes the bank boost, then that is a little more iffy. And even if he... Okay, so the straight boost was taken. Looks Looks like he links with the focus.
Yeah.
And just hopes not to take too much damage this turn.
He technically has to focus first and boost, but who knows what he discussed in the channel. Just for the rules lawyers out there.
If they're not reorienting their probe droids, then I'm not gonna quibble on action order.
I just, just saying, just in case. I don't wanna Twitch chat war. Oh, sorry, we rolled dice. Oh, nothing happened.
So that was Lando onto Dooku.
Yep. Because Ahkter does not want to be double stressed.
Ah, there we go. So he does see that and doesn't like it.
Maul is having a shot into wedge.
Yeah. So now he probably goes ahead and spends the force. Adds a focus. I'm not sure what that was. I think he was trying to spend the force and added a focus instead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so he spends the force for 3 into wedge.
Wedge takes 1 shield. That makes sense.
Shield.
Oh.
Ooh. So that's Dooku into wedge, who is fine with cloud and focus.
The gas clouds.
So it's very interesting that we have Ahkter in specifically with Lando in such a aggressive position here, but the entire trade ended up being giving up 1 shield on wedge, and that was it.
Yep, that's right. I mean, but then again, he really did really well with Jake. So going in full block, pulling that. So, and also shooting at Doku, not getting double stressed, was a good decision, I think, because as you said in the beginning, that would have been bad for Lando.
Mm-hmm. It really would have been nice to be able to shoot at Maul this turn, though.
Yes, but I think if he would have had blocking Maul, he might have didn't care, but that's not what he wanted anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew decided very quickly in Maul, so 2 sloop. Right?
Could be. Dooku probably just hangs a 1 or a 2 bank over the cloud because he's already got his lock on wedge and doesn't care. But yeah, that 2 sloop right on Maul makes sense because that puts him behind both Jake and Wedge.
Yeah, and because Maul only has Maul has a target lock on Jake, but at the end of the day, he can just pick and choose who's going to shoot it anyway, and if he misses, he might want to. So you never know.
And looking up Maul, just want to see. Looks like after you perform an attack, you may spend 2 force to perform a bonus primary attack. So he couldn't fire his torpedo at Jake as the bonus attack.
That would be good.
So if he's going to fire the torpedo, so if he's going to split fire and one of them be the torpedo has to be first.
Likely that the torpedo doesn't hit, though. I mean, he can still double attack at a different target, but if it's worth it, then.
So at this point,
yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was thinking at this point, all of Ahkter's ships are stressed, which is not a really big deal for Lando or Jake, but it really puts Wedge in a difficult position for this next turn because he's basically committed to that one bank or two bank. I guess X-wings have the two bank blue.
That's right.
And he's not going to contribute to any sort of damage output for this next turn again. So Andrew really has an opportunity to still get in a good damage spike before he starts taking a whole lot of damage on his ships.
There's always a possibility to pop Leia, but it's dangerous because at the end of the day, as you said, all his ships are stressed, so he won't have any actions.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he's going to do that. I mean, Lando is just going to scoot around the infiltrators with one bank, maybe. Is the free heart on the Rebel A-Wings green? Blue? No, is it? No.
No.
So Jake
actually is fairly limited on his blue maneuvers. He could go straight. He could just go ahead and do a 3 hard and just not take any actions. But the 2 hard doesn't clear the two bank may just clear.
It's gonna be super close.
I don't remember my basic geometry to know off the top of my head whether that clears. The one bank clears a small base.
That's true. So the 2 bank can clear a big base, but you have to be at a certain angle, and the window is very small. So Ahkter's ready too.
All right, let's see if we have that notorious 2 template come out and for some extra slow play action. It is worth noting that we put extra time on the clock for this match. We ran it at 90 minutes instead of 75 because a Vassal does take extra time on little fiddly bits like this. So so there is time for moving the stuff around. But he does not. So we see an aggressive move with Dooku, taking the 3 hard in. Doesn't care about his actions because he's got the force and he's already got the lock where he wants to put torpedoes anyway.
And Jake is not going to escape his arc.
No.
It's not going to happen, so...
Unless he does that 3 hard.
Oh, Maul actually dropped a proton bomb.
Oh. I missed that part. Yep, so that's definitely a problem for Jake. But less so since he didn't clear. So he's going to sit there and... Let's see... Yeah, it looks like he is not at range 0 of Dooku, so Dooku's going to have range 1 attack there if he chooses to take it.
Yeah.
And Lando just running right into the proton bomb.
He doesn't care, he still has shields.
Yeah, it's just 1 shield. So here he's faced with the choice of taking the boost again, potentially for the arc dodge off of Dooku. But no, he sits there for a focus lock on to Dooku.
Yeah. And it didn't hit the rock?
There's the 2 sloop. Looks like there was no rock collision. Otherwise, the rock would have lit up, I believe.
That's correct.
So we've got 2 range 1 shots into Jake, potentially. One of which carries a lock focus, and one of them's just focus, essentially, with the force.
Lock that
appears
Doku
to.
had on Jake is its own lock.
I think it's underneath, because Maul had a lock on Jake earlier, and I
It
think
was Maul. Yes, sorry.
I think it's sitting underneath Dooku currently. So we'll see if they remember that it exists. And then Dooku will move next turn, and then Andrew will be like, "Oh, I had a lock." Now, what's interesting is that Maul still has to deal with that rock, but he does know that a 2-bank template fits without hitting it. So if he can complete the 2-bank next turn, then that's a potential move for him. The bomb explodes. Both Lando and Dooku take a damage.
Huh?
Lando's attack.
Oh.
That's going to be 4 hits, spending the lock and focus into Dooku, who rolls 1 evade, taking 3 damage. Too bad he hadn't spent any force yet. That brings him down to 1 shield.
Really?
So at this point, he can start spending force to take actions. He was attacked by a target in his arc.
Oh, you have to perform an attack that hits.
Well, it's
you can then do actions.
Oh, is that what's the effect when he is attacked?
So the Doku defended, and he can spend 1 force to remove 1 of the blue or red tokens.
Ah, I see.
Attack Jake, which is going to take 2 shields.
So 2 shields into Jake from Maul's attack. That is half points.
Half points, and Goku has to make a choice now, but he should actually attack Jake. Not.
Yeah, just go ahead and take him off the board.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh man.
As well, used force.
Oh, it looks like he actually fired his torpedo into Wedge, because he converted into a crit. So that's the other shield.
Oh.
So console fire, stunned pilot.
It's a sad Wedge. And Wedge hasn't shot even once in that game yet.
Yeah. So Wedge is sitting on 2 hull.
And his action economy is not going to be good next turn. So he has to, if he wants to flip the console, stunt doesn't really matter. That's just a no event crit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can be sometimes bad, but the only time I ever seen it doing something is when Kylo died because he clipped a rock. And that's, so, but console fire with 2 hull left, that's.
Yeah,
I mean, Lando can just. Yeah, I mean, Lando can just give him the action to flip it once Lando move, but. Oh, and I think Andrew, with that round of shooting and Ahkter not being able to really shoot at Andrew, really went up this round. Mm-hmm. Jake is on fire, Wedge is on fire, and Doku only lost 3 shields.
Yeah, so let's see. Dooku is still looks like he's still 2 away from being halved, and Maul has not been injured yet. So it looks like this is going to be the path to victory for Ahkter at this point is really, I think, Lando being very aggressive and just taking focus lock, getting as many range 1 or obstructed shots as possible, and doing big chunks of damage at a time, while Andrew is all tied up trying to finish off the small base ships.
And to be honest, right, Doku didn't have to use his lock because Andrew rolled good,
Mm-hmm.
and Wedge can't go anywhere. Doku might just do a 1 forward, bumps into Jake, and lights up Wedge again.
Yeah.
Be the perfect move.
If he does that, then Maul's move is interesting, because I don't think Maul fits back where he was with the 2 bank anymore, because Dooku will actually move up a little bit to bump into Jake.
He might just go after Lando, maybe? I don't know. Yes, Lando moves first, so he might just... I don't know. We will see.
Yeah, it's the big risk here for Maul is that he ends up on that rock because he gets blocked there.
From Jake, that's correct.
Like anywhere else, he's probably okay with it because he can manage his arc to try to catch Jake or Lando. But if he lands on that rock, then he's going to lose a round of shooting, which would give Ahkter an opportunity to catch back up.
That's true. I mean, but looking at the board state, so Jake can't go straight, really. He was going to crash into Lando. That's not what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Going right, that's not what he wants. So Jake is probably going to go left and bugger out. And then Lando has to move. So if I would be Andrew, I would actually dial in the 5k on Maul and don't care about the rock because he's just going to lose his shield anyway. Oh no, he's stressed Maul. He can't do that. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's interesting.
So maybe he goes ahead and dials in the 3 bank, like just does that 1 straight with Dooku to keep arc on Wedge, and then dials in the 3 bank with Maul just to make sure that he can jump over Dooku and not land on the rock.
I guess that's the only move.
Just keep the stress.
It's the only move. I mean, he could bank to the right, but then he's stuck in the corner, which is really, really bad.
Yeah, and his 1 hards are red, so he wouldn't have access to those. So Lando wants to keep pounding into Dooku specifically. So we're probably going to see a 3 bank out of him, or do you think he's going to go slower?
I think he's going to go slower, knowing well that he has to be aggressive now.
Mm-hmm.
And one bank is perfectly fine because of 1 bank, he might be able to stay in range to give Wedge an action, or he's definitely going to be able to give Jake an action. So I think a 1 bank is enough, and then he might even be able to block Darth Maul's 3 bank to the left.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if he does the 2 hard left with Jake, then one of Jake's repositions would probably be in range to hand off a focus to Lando. Yep. So there's the intentional bump with Dooku, and then so Lando would end up with his focus lock and still have an action to hopefully pass to Wedge. Oh, going the other way. Not putting all of his eggs in one escape route basket.
It's also not a bad idea just to pass a focus onto Wedge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that accomplishes the same thing, because then Jake gives his extra action to Wedge, and then Lando gets to keep both of his to just pound damage into Dooku. Looks like he's parsing out all the different ways that he can do this with Jake's repositions.
It also depends what he dialed into wedge, so he doesn't want to block wedge, that's for sure.
Right.
For example, if he does a O, he waits. So I don't think he's got a one bank with wedge in. It's definitely gonna. He should be giving the focus to wedge in my eyes.
Yeah, he can't take it for himself because he's stressed from the boost. And he also did not pop Leia this turn. So we're not expecting any sort of Talon roll or anything out of wedge. So this one straight boost is interesting. Yep. So there's the focus shared over to wedge. Do you think the 3 hard fits past Jake, or are we looking at a K turn potentially here?
I think the 3 hard fits, and that might be why Ahkter contemplated his life choices. If he would have done, for example, if it would have done a 4K for whatever reason, then it would be an easy decision just to bank in Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Wedge, no matter what Wedge does, if he does a 3 hard and he boosts, he's going to be range of Count Dooku.
He just coordinated Jake a barrel roll. I'm going to have to go talk to them.
Oh, yes, Jake is stressed. That's not going to work. So while Joel is fixing that up because Jake wasn't allowed to barrel roll because which is a stress. Oh, yeah, I was saying Wedge is not going to have an easy life. If he goes 3 hard boosts, he's going to be in range 1 of Dooku with 4 dice, and if he doesn't boost, he's going to get another Proton Torp.
All right, so backing up the situation, putting the stress on Jake. So Lando's just going to be taking his 2 actions. Yep, there's that 3 bank out of Maul, and it does get blocked, which is really best case scenario for Ahkter here, because Maul doesn't get to shoot this round, and Lando gets to have a nice juicy shot into Dooku for the 2nd round in a row.
Yeah, that is true. So left turn 2, yeah, that's why here. Okay, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, he was really counting on that barrel roll, but with Jake being next to the rock at the end of his maneuver, there really wasn't any opportunity to do the barrel roll.
That's true, but maybe that. I mean, he still only has two health left. However, he's now behind the rock. Dooku certainly wants to kill Wedge, so he's got to focus. So it's not even that bad that it didn't fit.
The alternative to that is that if it fit, then he could have fired a fully modded proton torpedo into Dooku, and
that is very true.
And then Lando would have had a fully modded range 1. It is conceivable that Dooku would be dead.
A good point.
So that was an opportunity to just really flip the board state around.
So Ahkter gets away with the console fire.
Yeah. Ooh, nice roll against Darth Maul. And I believe the range was 2, so we should be seeing Maul take whatever gets rolled here. He's trying to decide whether he's going to spend that focus. I think the answer is to not spend the focus, because that's not enough damage to really make a difference. And he chooses not to spend the focus.
That was the right choice, just because he's gonna get 4 with a Proton Torp, and then he has 3 for defense, so there is a chance that he survives.
Mm-hmm. And if he survives, then you have 1 more turn where you can set up that fully modded proton torpedo.
So Lando obviously is angry.
Yep. Deals 2 hits and a crit into Dooku. We'll see what that crit is.
Damage engine.
Damaged engine. Dooku's not very happy about, but it's not the end of the world either.
It's better than a weapons failure.
Yeah. What?
Oh, heroic. Oops.
So there goes Wedge.
Goes Wedge.
So keeping the focus was still the right call.
Yeah, sure.
Even though it didn't pan out.
I mean, Ahkter just had to roll pictures, which unfortunately he didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was absolutely the right choice, just in case he can survive.
And he's continuing to draw all the cards.
Okay, I guess that's back to tiles. And this is gonna be tough now, so probably can't kill Doku the next round unless he gets lucky crits. Jake is in trouble, and Maul is still very healthy, and Andrew has torpedoes still left on Maul, so
Yeah, Maul hasn't had an opportunity to fire his torpedoes yet. So he has no probe droids left on Dooku, no torpedoes left on Dooku. So he's just got hate and the Force.
to be fair, I think that Dooku needed to do, and that's what he did, and Wedge is gone, so
yeah.
It's a bonus that he actually survived. Now he can even go after Jake, because Jake can't kill him, and
now, so that issue that Maul had last turn about where to go, Dooku has this turn. I think maybe you take the 3 hard right over the rock, even though it's red, just to move on through. That 5K, if that 5K is not blocked by Jake, then the 5K is the right move. But if it is blocked by Jake, then that's really a really bad spot to be in with all of his turns being red.
oh, he's gonna go off the board afterwards then.
Yeah.
Taking the risk, is he?
Like both players have forgotten about the existence of the probe droids at this point. Just not worth dealing with.
No, probably not.
Oh, it looks like they're conveniently keeping a round counter at the bottom of the screen with the shield token, so we're up to the 7th round of the game.
Still have half an hour left or so.
Yeah. So we should see a conclusion.
Oh yeah, that should be fine.
Oh,
there
he did it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, look at that.
Risk and it paid off.
I don't know where that target lock that used to be on Jake went. I guess it doesn't exist anymore.
He spent it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Jake just...
when Maul was shooting into Jake.
Yeah. So Jake just grabs a lock on Dooku for later. Lando ducking behind the cloud. I like this move. It gives him good options with the 2 hard around the cloud next turn to bring his arc back up toward Maul if he needs to. which you probably will with Dooku coming down in that direction. Maul continuing the chase, not caring that he's stressed.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Lando is now Lando's gonna be very sad this turn, probably. Oh, he's spending this.
So 2 more damage into Dooku.
Yeah.
Or 3 more damage into Dooku, I should say. But he does have the opportunity to ditch his stress, which dramatically clears up his options for next turn. And it also allows him to take an action if he fires back and hits Lando. Yeah, so he's spending the force to ditch the stress. Then we should be seeing the range 1 out of Maul. And that's 2 hits into Lando. A pair of shields.
Maul is also now in a great position just to go after Lando.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna spend that lock.
Hit.
Even with the lock spent, only 1 hit.
Oh, doesn't matter. It's fine.
1 damage.
That brings Lando down to only 1 shield remaining. And if Dooku wants, he can spend another force to take an action here since he did hit his target. Which he's doing, and that action is... I guess he's deciding what his action is.
Cloak. He can't probably decloak, but there it is. Here we are.
And back to dials. Possibly the other action that he could have been contemplating is a jam onto Lando to go ahead and get that lock off of Dooku. Because Lando's range 1 of that droid that's sitting there between the cloud and the rock. So that would have limited Lando's action economy in the following turn, assuming that he does the 2 hard in. Because that's not blue and he wouldn't get his double action.
You can only jam range 1.
Right, but you can measure that range from the Dark One probe droids.
Oh. I forgot about that. I think every day.
So that would be something that he could have done to try to narrow the gap in action economy for the following turn. But where he's at now, he could potentially decloak towards Jake. There might be enough space there.
I guess it would fit going back, so it's no harm trying, I think.
Yeah.
And then even if it doesn't decloak, if he fails it, that's fine because yes, he can't see. It doesn't even matter because he's gonna get shot at from Lando.
Yeah.
Spend a force. It's I think that's a win-win. If the decloak fits, happy days. If it doesn't fit, doesn't really matter.
He might do a 4 straight in because he used the 5 straight template to get where he's at now. And if he does the 4 straight in, he should get past the rock. And he'll still be cloaked. possibility. Because the issue that he faces is if he stays cloaked and he doesn't do the 4 straight, then he's going to lose arc on Lando because he's going to have to turn away from that rock.
It is true.
So recapping the board state, Dooku is very close to death. Lando still has a shield, and Jake is shieldless but still with 2 hull. So, assuming that he can clear Dooku before Dooku fires this coming round, Lando actually has a decent chance of just trading blow for blow Maul in the end game with a little help from Jake and actually out damaging Maul.
Oh, and what's Jake going to do? A hard one to the right, barrel roll up takes the focus.
I think he for sure hard ones right, and then he sees what Dooku did, and then he can respond to that. I think Dooku probably, or not Dooku, but Maul probably takes the hard 2 in again, just to cover the space that Lando's going to be if he's going to keep a firing solution on Dooku. Andrew also needs to move that droid out of the way because Lando will probably land on it.
Ahkter definitely has to go after Dooku, so he can initiative kill him with Jake and Lando.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be happy that having Maul at his back, fully loaded with 2 proton torps.
As long as he stays in this hard turn game, though, Maul's going to stay stressed and he's never going to have an opportunity to grab his lock.
Sure.
So at that point, it's kind of a Andrew's in a position where he's kind of got the tiger by the tail. Like he has to stay on him, but it's not really the most advantageous approach.
Mm.
But he loses too much by disengaging.
Oh yes, because no, that's not a good idea. Especially Ahkter still hasn't used Leia, so there can always be the surprise move.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andrew is moving the droid, doesn't want to lose it.
Takes a little time, but not too much time to to adjust the angle of the droid.
I mean, he's trying, right? It's a 4 that counts.
Yeah. So he does do the decloak.
And it fits way better than we thought it would.
Yeah.
Nice. I think that was a nice move.
Yeah, it comes on out because Lando's going to have to rotate his arc if he does do that too hard in. But if Jake does the... Oh, but does Dooku barrel roll?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But there he is.
There we go.
There we are. Here we go.
Jake is stuck. So Jake's not going to initiative kill Dooku this turn.
No. And I don't think Ahkter dialed in a K with Jake because he wasn't... Maybe he did? No, he didn't. That was very good.
Yeah.
Lando has to kill Dooku. Oh, and he disengages. Interesting.
Trying to fake out Maul. But if Maul does the 1 bank here, which still would have had the 2 hard... Yeah, even if he does the 1 bank, I think Lando makes it out. Yep.
It is 1 bank.
And there's no barrel roll that saves this firing solution, I don't think.
Maul
But
can now take a
yeah,
lock on Lando for the future.
now he takes the lock, and he's got an excellent path for the 5K turn. Or sloops. Well, one sloop.
No, not to the left. That would be bad.
Yeah.
And Lando has a decision now to make. Do I really want to shoot Maul and get double stressed?
Yeah.
Ahkter would
'Cause
be
of that-
silly not to.
Because of that boost. But yeah, you've gotta be doing damage at this point. Yeah. So Andrew decides to put the lock on Lando for the future. Because if it gets down to Maul versus Jake, then I don't think Jake has a realistic path to victory.
No.
So he has to be prepared to do a bunch of damage to Lando while he can. It's also worth noting that Lando is 89 points, whereas both Dooku and Maul are more than that. So if he manages to half Lando and kill Jake, then Andrew wins as long as Lando doesn't kill all of his ships.
Yep.
So that really puts it's still. I mean, the burden of execution since Wedge's death has been on Ahkter.
That's true.
So that doesn't really change that.
And he decides to shoot into Maul.
Ooh, for no damage.
No damage.
And there's the stress.
Oh my god. That was a hard bargain.
Yes. So looking at the Chancellor Palpatine crew,
Defend.
yeah, it says after you defend, if the attacker's at range 0 to 2. So stress well applied.
Chief Palpatine is so good. It's unbelievable. It's old school rebel captive.
Yep. So at this point, Lando doesn't have a lot of options. Maybe he just gives up on the idea of getting actions this turn and does the 3 hard to make sure that he has arc.
Yeah.
And then maybe get obstruction in the bargain.
Maybe a trick shot. Then just hope for the dice.
Yeah. I think Maul's going to end up dancing with Lando over here, and Dooku's just going to try everything he can to keep Jake from killing him.
yeah. So what's Doku going to do this? Maybe just a one forward, loses the stress.
Yeah, one forward. They're not parallel, so the one forward one bank. Okay.
One bank.
So I'm not sure there's a way that he can try to leverage the barrel roll this turn. We'll see. If Ahkter plotted the 1 hard, then Jake's in a good position. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, that is the focus. And
well, Dooku, you tried.
So Ahkter does want to get rid of one stress, and Maul is just probably gonna 4 or 5k.
Ooh. Maul's coming in to try to peel Jake off of his friend. I'm not sure
interesting move.
He doesn't have a lock on Jake. So this is just going to be a primary shot, range 3. Jake probably lives. Popped the lineup really fast. I didn't catch if it was obstructed. See how many dice you rolled. Nope, unobstructed.
That wasn't.
The 1 and 2.
And stress for nothing again.
Well, it's range 3.
Yeah, range 3. Sorry, yes. Oh, Maul just clips Jake, I think.
Yeah, it looks it.
So he should. Yeah, double attack.
Yeah. Says, let's try that again. Gets the money.
Oh, look at that.
Spins. Probably spins the focus. Yeah.
Yeah, should.
Because that might be a direct hit, and then Jake would just die.
But
So unmodded. One hit. Like Dooku takes one.
He rolled dice.
I don't know.
So Ahkter was spelling the lock, but he only re-rolled one dice, and Andrew hasn't rolled the defense die yet.
Gotcha.
Which you should do now.
Looks like he took the damage. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 5 cards in his player deck. I'm gonna go ask him.
Yep. Oh, we didn't see that Doku was rolling dice, so he should have rolled at least one dice.
Yeah, so he did take the 1 damage. I did not inquire as to how many dice were rolled and if it was correct. I just, like, did you take damage? She's like, yes. Okay.
Fair enough. All right, okay. All right, I go, bye-bye.
So at this point, yeah, Maul peeling away is interesting because now he really has to commit to killing Jake, because if he's still engaged with Jake by the time Lando gets back, then he's lost the advantage that he had on Lando being double stressed, and it's back to even footing. It looks like we have dials down. We are 9 turns into the game. Looks like we have only 11 minutes left to go, with Andrew solidly up on points. But if Count Dooku dies and Andrew doesn't score any more, then that's looking to be a 3-point victory for Ahkter. So with only 10-ish minutes left in the game, that could be Ahkter's victory condition that he's going for. So Leo is triggered. Jake doing the 5K, which is white. Doesn't look like he's going to have a firing solution on Dooku, unless he does a barrel roll back and then a boost, perhaps. Ultimately, the goal would be to block Maul so that Maul can't kill Jake before Jake does enough damage to Dooku, which at this point is only 1. There's the barrel roll. Doesn't look like he has arc on Dooku. But he's going to leave it. Lando doing a 2-turn. Not clear the stress. Maul bumping on to Jake. Or probably no shots this turn. We'll see if Lando has range onto Maul, but I think that's out. Yeah, it looks like they're heading back to Dials.
Dials,
And Dooku is in the tough place of continuously being stressed because he always wants to be taking red actions. He barrel rolled 2 turns in a row. This turn he cloaked. So he's in a situation where he is prevented from doing the sloops and the K turns that he wants to do in order to get a firing solution again. At this point,
it did keep him alive.
It did. At this point, Jake has the potential for blocking up Maul again, but he has to pick whether Maul went slow or did the 5K. Though actually, the best maneuver for Maul here might be the 2 sloop up.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm also just looking at the Twitch chat, and the Daddy Tom Harper mentioned that there is outmaneuver on Jake. That's why Doku didn't roll the dice.
There we go. We missed it.
See? He's at work paying more attention than us. Or maybe he's studying, one or the other.
Yeah, he did mention that he had an exam coming up later in the week, so we certainly wish him luck on that.
That's for sure. Did, however, ask me yesterday after I picked up his new toys to urgently bring them to him.
I mean, professional development is one thing, but plastic spaceships is entirely on another level.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true.
So the question here, I guess, is whether you commit to trying to get that last damage onto Dooku with Jake, or do you try to block Dooku or Maul and keep him snarled up? Because currently, looking at the points, if Ahkter can manage to kill Dooku and not lose any more points, then he actually wins by 3 points, 90 to 87.
That's true. I only have 6 minutes left. I'm curious if they actually know that we only have 6 minutes left, or if they're just playing by the rounds.
I don't know. I will go let them know.
Oh yeah, and Tom is actually studying. He's not at work, he just said. So spinning that sweet B-wing. Oh, Australia, due to a communication error, we got our Wave 4 spaceships 2 days ago, but they are not being sold anymore, so we still have to wait until the release date.
Unless you were lucky enough to snap them up in the few hours they were being sold, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because Tom just said he needs to spin that sweet B-wing.
Just spin it right round. Looks like Dooku is attempting a decloak. I don't know what he's trying to do here.
Definitely decloaked. Then he did a 2 bank.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess it was a decloak straight forward in the 2 bank.
What's going on? What are they doing?
There we go. He's just trying to do it by the dial.
Yeah, okay.
So that puts him on the cloud. So no action there. Jake with the 1 hard.
Probably
just a boost, pick up his natural focus and call it good without maneuver. Question being, can he pick up enough modification to hit Dooku through the cloud? Because he's got that corner sitting in the cloud there.
Oh,
So it looks like he's going to have no bullseye, so Predator won't be available.
I think that's a shot through the clouds, so he gets at least one die Doku.
Yeah. And that one die is guaranteed to be an evade. Because if it's a blank, he changes it. If it's a focus, he just uses his force.
If Maul doesn't initiative kill Jake.
True.
Let's see what Maul actually did. He came close the last round.
Like Lando, he's deciding what his actions need to be with Lando. He did the one bank. He's taking the boost in. All right. Trying to get that range to make sure he can hit Dooku. So he sees the victory condition and he's doing everything he can to try to nab it. One straight with Darth Maul. So this is Ahkter's chance.
Just that.
Just out. Dooku has a slight reprieve. So now Jake has to generate 2 hits. Perhaps 3 if the range is 3, but it looks like a range 2. That's 2 hits. And that'll do it. That is dead Dooku. We have 2 minutes left. There is time for another round.
It's one more round, so Doku Maul going to do. I mean, if Ahkter Doku has to sloop, Maul has to sloop now. It's just a question of which direction. Jake is gonna bugger off.
Yeah.
And they're going to too hard away.
So this has been a nail-biting game.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Darth Maul has one chance to get enough damage to pull Andrew back out ahead.
He shouldn't. He should just leave Jake alone because he already has a lock on Lando.
And he's got his torpedoes ready to go.
Yep.
If he only had a short K turn, then that would be optimal.
Yeah, 1K, just like the little droids.
Yeah. So the 2 sloop is probably his best bet here. Because Jake probably just 5 straight boosts. Like he's just gone.
Jake is gone, yeah.
Lando is stressed, so he's probably gonna 2 hard, and then he's just gonna be sitting there. So it's a matter of can Darth Maul still reach him if he does a 2 sloop? And then which direction does Lando decide to 2 hard?
If Lando goes left and sloops left as well, then Maul is not gonna shoot Lando. But
yeah,
I guess that's what Andrew knows. So he has to sloop right, and then.
But if he sloops right and Lando goes right.
Yeah, that's gonna be very, very close.
Yeah. It looks like Andrew has not decided. He may have decided there for a moment, then reconsidered.
It could also just be tactics, you know.
Yeah.
Psychological warfare.
So both players facing a 50-50 choice here, which could end up deciding the game.
Which?
Ah.
Oh.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Let's see
surprise
here.
bomb.
Lando still has a shield, so that by itself isn't enough.
It helps. Every little helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like obviously getting out of town.